Hi, it's Miss Roche. This is pre-algebra, wrapping up the greatest common factor theme. Why do we find the greatest common factor? It is one of the things they will ask on the ECA. We find the greatest common factor because it helps us simplify fractions. It's that simple. However, in our first lesson, we did simplify fractions correctly, and we did use the greatest common factor, but we never called it that. This is how they're going to expect to see them do it on the ECA. We started with our numbers 24/36. We found all common prime factors. They were like multiplying by factors of 1 that looked like 2/2 and 2/2 and 3/3. So they were unnecessary factors. They were redundant factors. We don't need to multiply by 1, so we have 2/3. If your student does it this way every single time, they will always get the right answer, and they will see that they always have the right answer. But you'll notice that in our second lesson we found that the greatest common factor is 12, because 2 times 2 times 3 is 12. So the shortcut that students are often taught, that they often forget, is you take 24/36 and you divide by the greatest common factor, which is 12/12, but you're not dividing by the greatest common factor. You're dividing by 1, and the form is the greatest common factor over the greatest common factor. This is the point of confusion. They're not dividing by 12. We are using the greatest common factor to find out what the form of our unnecessary 1 looks like. That's all we're using the greatest common factor for, and we get our answer 2/3. If your student follows the first approach, they will always get the answer right. They will be using the greatest common factor. The form of it will be in each individual common prime factor. So this is the approach that we use that's pre-algebraic, because when they get into algebra, instead of saying 2's and 2's and 3's, we'll have A's and B's and C's. This is the expanded version. You will always get the right answer. Some students will be able to start wrapping this up in their brain and will be able to see this on their own, but I don't have to teach it, because if I taught this way, their brain will tell them when they're ready for this way. But be aware that on the ECA, they may ask a random question, what is the GCF? That GCF is, the reason they need to know it is so they can do this. I'm happy if they can do this. That's the end of the GCF lesson.